Welcome back. This is module 8. We're going to be doing some outreach. So my starting point is going to be LinkedIn. And if you haven't used LinkedIn before, there's a couple things to note. LinkedIn is great for kind of low scale operations. It's great for discoverability. It's probably not going to be a channel that you're going to scale exponentially on. And there's a lot of rate limiting and other issues with LinkedIn if you try to do too much automation. And some of that has changed in the last 6 months or so. So just be super mindful of how you're using the system and don't abuse the system. But if you're mostly here to learn about your potential customer and you haven't thought of this as a scale mode yet, then you're in the right spot. Just be mindful of those limits and other things. I just wanted to raise that caveat before we dive too far deeply. So LinkedIn for B2B marketplaces and some consumer-facing startups is a great way to learn. We're going to focus on more of a B2B use case and my initial persona for now. And then I'll walk you through how we think about more of the consumer growth side of things. And the last module of the program is actually about leveraging paid social and paid search to try to find those early customers as well. But you'll go through the same process up until this point. This is going to mostly be focused on B2B for right now with my initial persona. And again, if you are focused on consumer acquisition, I would urge you to start thinking about partnership distribution models relatively early. So with Red Tricycle, what we did was we ran contests and promos with quasi competitors. We would find places that were also marketing to new parents, and we would partner with them because we're going after the same audience. So think about like Legoland or Disney, other larger companies that were going after that same new parent was both a competitor to ours as well as a potential partner. So if you're a consumer company, think about it through that lens. Who can you potentially partner with that you can be a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario with them? So I have used a whole bunch of different platforms and automations to get my kind of 0 to 1 scripts live on LinkedIn. And I generally will always do this after doing a bunch of manual 1-to-1 outreach. And again, you have to be super mindful using third-party tools on top of LinkedIn because you could literally get your account shut down if you abuse it. So do not use this and try to abuse it and get away with it. Just be mindful of those rate limits. But one tool that I've used pretty extensively is Octopus CRM, which makes it really easy to send small batched messages out to users on LinkedIn. And this is kind of one of the tools that I'll walk you through today. Another is you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator with Octopus CRM, or you can simply use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We'll look at this persona here of the email marketing specialist. Remember, I don't yet know how they measure success, and I'm not yet sure what solution they use. In my 4 steps here to validate how they measure success, understand if my product is solving to a solution based on a need that they have, understanding what current solutions they use, and then understanding if there's conversion potential. So validating success. So I took that script that I had written a little while ago, and I said, "Hi, Craig, I'm doing some research for my startup and was wondering if as an email marketing specialist, how do you primarily measure success for your job? Is it around metrics like opens, clicks, click-through rate, or something else? I'd be grateful if you could give me a quick reply. Cheers, Craig." Again, I started this process by doing 1-to-1 outreach in LinkedIn and talking to anybody that I knew who could give me an honest take on my product. But now I want to actually scale it up a little bit more because I'm starting to validate the success. So the first batch that I ran on this, I sent 20 LinkedIn connection requests with that message on day 1. So again, these came in as connection requests. So this was going after new people who I had never met that were email marketing specialists. I sent 20. After the first week, about 20% accepted. That rate's gone up closer to 40% now. And what was even more interesting is I received some replies almost instantly. So this person got back to me and said, well, I'm sorry. So I wrote to Eric and said, hey, I'm doing some research, et cetera, et cetera. I'm starting to get replies back. All right. So David here, I'm going to skip any of the personal details. We track open rates and click through, but our more important metrics are replies and appointments. Another person down below here said, to answer your question directly, yes, the KPIs like open rate, click-through rate, unsubscribe rate, et cetera, are leveraged primarily to decide which campaign or automated campaign needs optimizing. And then another person said, hi, Craig, thanks for reaching out. How I measure success solely based on email marketing is on the following factors. I mean, and then they sent a whole list. And then other metrics are projected revenue, earned revenue, engagement, A/B testing. I mean, they gave me the whole playbook. I mean, that was super, super helpful. So I feel comfortable at this point with this outreach that I'm doing here, that I am starting to validate what they measure success based on. Okay, great. So here's another one. One of the unexpected replies that I got really early was how they measure success. But then this is exciting that because I had said, hey, I've created this new product, right? Let me go back to the script, doing some research for my startup and wondering, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that's exciting. You're in the process with a business. Please tell me more about it. I mean, this person replied back to me not only with a bunch of contextual information that helps me understand how they measure success, but they're also asking me to tell them more about what I'm up to. I mean, that's a hot lead right there. Okay. So the purpose of this course isn't really to get you past that close, but this is the step where you're going to start to have conversations, right? And so this is well on that pathway to getting those customers. So here's what we've learned so far. I looked at all this data. Measurement is important. Opens, click-through rates are being tracked, are good. Good content and tracking conversions seems to also be a key. So I didn't actually realize that email marketing specialists or email marketing managers cared about the actual end conversion. I thought it was more of the higher level metrics, but it turns out that they're really, they are impacted by these metrics. When we look at problem persona fit, okay, so this is when I start to reply now a second time. So thank you for the metrics earlier. Another quick question. How do you impact these types of metrics? Do you use products, tools, et cetera? Remember, that's the problem persona fit script that I wrote in the last section. I'm going to give you a second to read this real reply from a real user. Okay. Pause it if you need to, but Tableau, SQL, return path, Litmus. I learned best practices from, part of Women of Email community. This is incredible. So I have now tools. I validated that they, before that they've already got there's a problem and persona solution fit here. And this is just gold for what I'm trying to learn. Here's another one. So I said, I've used Zero Bounce for making sure email lists are scrubbed every once in a while, but curious what the pros are using. This person was unfamiliar with Zero Bounce. I will say maintaining your list is important. Removing those that unsubbed is critical. Okay, I love this at the bottom. We do regular A/B tests with subject lines and CDA language as well. With COVID, there's been more experimenting with sending during the less traditional days of the week and time of the day. I mean, you're getting right into the mind of this persona and how they do their job. This is what we're trying to learn. And then here's another one. Happy to help. What is your startup? And then I sent this person, after having a conversation on LinkedIn, I'll link right over to my spinoff experiment. And you can see that, I mean, I replied at 12:43, this person replies at 12:44, then I reply back at 12:48. You don't have to be in real time like this, but when you find a persona fit like this that works, you'll find that it's probably a friendly audience and you actually have to do a lot less selling because you validated the pain points and you're speaking their language from a solution standpoint. And now all you need to do is show that value. And obviously pricing and everything else has to line up and you have to close the deal, but you're 80% of the way here at this point. You've disqualified the bad fits and you're qualifying the good fits. So here's the current state based on where I'm at right now. I'm starting to understand the way my initial persona measures success. I'm starting to find some that have that problem persona fit. And turns out people love answering questions about their jobs. So what's next? Start thinking more about those conversion points and run that same loop on other personas. Some of the fragmentation tools, lack of consistency, these are all things that I've learned. People use Tableau, SQL, return path, litmus. I kept hearing return path. I kept hearing litmus. And I need to capture more data as replies come in. So if you're running this over the course of a month or 2 months, keep a spreadsheet of the tools, understand how these companies, the ones right in front of us that you're hearing about, how are they marketing? Because they're marketing to your audience already. So I just learned that I'm competing with return path and litmus to some small degree, and maybe Tableau and SQL. Roughly 100 connections were sent. So I gave this a little bit of time. I let it run. 20% accepted, 25% of them replied, and about 10% of the new connections became inquiries. So out of this, I had 100 connections and about 10 of them were inquiries by the time I ended my experiment. And so then what do I do from there? So for the other 2 personas I have, I'm going to plan to do basically the same exact type of outreach with a similar script, but just modifying it to their needs. And the goal there is to validate what we don't yet know, and then to potentially find new personas to target. So when I look at the director of email marketing, these are my action items. And when I look at my VP, my action items are slightly different: confirm the tools and generate ideas around potential competitors. So what I want you to do is build your validation script for at least one persona, find that persona on LinkedIn or using email if that's better for you, and start to do that outreach to uncover new findings. If you're a consumer company, I want you to think about this through the lens of a partnership strategy. And you can use this exact approach to find partners to help you with distribution, right? Everybody's on LinkedIn. If you prefer to send emails, later on in this program, we'll walk through cold outreach. I'll walk you through how to do that. But regardless of what type of industry you are, I want you to get to a point where you've got something tangible that you're starting to send out to people that you can get a real reaction from. Next up, we're going to look at some of the metrics. I will see you there.